27, 26. I didn't get plugged into it in time.
Dino? Hey, pal. Up, man. Hey, and managed to don't give in to peer pressure.
I'm like, wait a minute, this is the same meeting. I'm like, no, no, he actually.
I only own.
He just doesn't. Hey, sure.
That same issue. Yeah, that's the thing. I wore the same exact clothes for 30 years.
Good evening. That's great. Awesome. I like that micron.
Oh yeah.
Because I had your uniform.
Disappointed had I not noticed.
I was surprised somebody didn't because I was looking at it going, huh.
Oh, yeah, let me guess. Fits at 5. Yeah, sure enough.
Yep.
I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Have to work.
Right.
Your mic's not working?
There goes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Oh, did you want armrests?
You know, that would actually be great.
Okay. All right. We'll track those down.
They're here somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, you need some too? Okay. Oh. Like it?
Bigger arms.
How goes the battle? It's going.
Yeah.
Is that a Bucky shirt? No, no, that's for all new units. They come in, they're building. That's what
I just wonder, that line's gonna be runs all down to new. I just didn't know
yeah.
if it were in the district or if it was, trunk.
Line item.
It's tagged to it here.
Oh, they got it on there?
They got it on supplies.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I did reach out. But I think is gonna stay. Yes. No. Yeah, she's somewhere in here. I know she is.
Okay.
She said she could stay. Amber.
Back to my email.
Oh, yeah, she said she'd come in after.
He's like me. Chris.
I'll get you. a
Sorry,
picture.
I'm a little deaf.
Me too, so. Let me see if I can understand this. You guys need to do this.
Which one are you looking at?
Emergency
Sorry.
generator.
Absolutely.
Now, you got it up here as an authorization.
And I
but we
don't-
don't have it as an action item.
It's not because I talked to Stacy. She knew it writing the memo to update you because
It's
this
that,
falls under
she-
purchasing policy.
Yeah, it crosses it over.
Yeah, it's just.
I
she
just wanted
used
to
the-
make sure there wasn't a requirement. I didn't want it to not be on there. We get to it.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks for keeping me straight.
Nope. Thanks for. I already talked to her about that.
Okay. Okay.
That far to flow. You're like literally that tall.
Hope she's doing all right.
Jesus. Yeah.
Well, the only.
That's what she says. So she goes, oh. Not gonna come back as I don't want you to come back if you're gonna add zeros or take zeros away. I think you should be all there.
Hover over.
You want to drag it right?
Nothing like 3 shots of
I mean, I can do whatever you need me to.
That's gonna come in.
Probably need more coming from you.
After.
I don't know.
She'll be able to come in once she gets off some of those meds and come in and do the checks. They go,
I had an entire knee replaced. I can empathize tremendously. Cost me extra time going through TSA every time I go to the airport.
you got steel in there or titanium or?
It's stainless.
Oof.
Okay.
Mhm.
Tiffany, I don't see my monitor. Did I? Screen, if I'm in the team meeting. I've got a window open. Yeah, it told me I could start the meeting whenever I wanted to. I figured it wasn't up to me to start the event. Okay.
Is it the Becker? Is it the one that came in like the email link or shows on your calendar?
Yeah, where it says join the meeting. Yeah.
Not showing here. Gotta go to the other link.
Studio Fix. Get out of these. So this is the activity. I pulled that up.
That's the special city council. That's an old one.
Well, that's why it's not opening.
So if you pull up your corner there, council meeting.
I can reopen my document. Which one? Now computer would be nice.
There you go.
There it is.
That's true when we talk to each other, then the mic doesn't quite pick up all the. If you have a mute.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take it.
Councilman Harjo,
Present.
Councilwoman Workala,
Present.
Councilman McCarthy,
Present.
Councilman Sanders,
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
Present, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for Tuesday, January 27th. We're gonna run down on the agenda to presentations, Officer of the Year recognition and their at Chief Larson, your show.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much for allowing me to do this presentation tonight with you and members of the public. Tonight, we're honoring our 2025 Officer of the Year. What is special about this award is it doesn't come from me or the command staff, it comes from the peers and supervisors of the police department. So with that being said, if I can have Corporal Tacky come on up front. The nomination this year reads as follows. Chief Larson, I am honored to nominate Corporal Lindsay Tacky for Officer of the Year. Since joining the Mount Home Police Department just over 2 years ago, Corporal Tacky has consistently demonstrated exceptional dedication to both our department and community we serve. Over the past year, Corporal Tacky has gone above and beyond in her commitment to community engagement. She was one of the officers to volunteer for Adopt a Cop program and remain actively involved with it until the conclusion of May 2025. In addition, she participated in numerous community events, including Shop with a Cop, National Night Out, and Downtown Halloween Celebration, strengthening the bonds between law enforcement and the public. Some of these events she went after completing a full 12-hour shift, then helping out with these projects. She has always been willing to cover shifts for other officers when needed. Corporal Tacky has also embraced additional responsibilities within the department. She played a key role in the implementation of the new Flex program with Motorola, ensuring her shift and other officers understood its processes and the benefits of that program. Her willingness to take initiative and share knowledge has made her an invaluable resource to her peers. Driven by the desire to contribute even more, Corporal Tacky works diligently to gain experience and knowledge necessary to become a supervisor, ultimately earning the rank of corporal. Since then, she has fostered positive relationships with officers and office staff alike, creating an environment of teamwork and respect. Corporal Tacky's professionalism, leadership, and unwavering dedication exemplifies the qualities we strive for in this department. For this reason, I fully recommend her for Officer of the Year, signed Sergeant Kyle Rollins, Patrol Division. I'd like to present you this award trophy. Says this honors bestowed upon Corporal Lindsay Tacky in gratitude, appreciation, and distinguished recognition of your hard work, devotion, and commitment to excellence. Mount Home Police Department 2025.
Officer Tacky, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
It's good to know that that you're on the team, and it's awesome. I'm happy, more proud of you. So
Sir, appreciate it.
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. As they're funneling out here, we'll run down to recognizing persons in the audience. The purpose of this agenda item is to provide an opportunity for members of the public to address the city council on matters that are not listed on the current agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the municipal purview of the city. Comments may not involve personnel matters, legal disputes, or the private non-municipal affairs of the constituency. Comments regarding zoning or land use issues may only be made during property. Would anybody like to get up for 3 minutes? Come on down.
And this is for Rich Sykes, our mayor. Last week or last meeting, you made a comment about not wanting to turn this council meeting into a TV reality show. I believe that you show no respect for our city council by saying this. And I'm saying this very sincerely. That's all I have. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Isn't planning on coming and saying anything, but I just want to say I have never felt more respected for you than this week. Thank you, Jenny.
Ma'am, what's your name?
Kathy.
Oh, Kathy. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mayor, my name is Don Gust, if you ain't already remembered.
Got you down, Don.
Okay. So I got a lot of things in my mind here. I wanna know what you guys are doing down there at the railroad park, for one thing. How come you can't put a plywood sign up there with a picture or something, or that expensive reader board without a display of what's going on or something, so people can walk down along there and look and stuff. There's more going on to what's going on down there than what you're telling us. I watched them this afternoon unload a vault. That's not a vault for a septic tank or anything. That's a vault for fiber optics or something else. Why is that running through that park? And all these officers just left. I want to commend that lady. I have nothing. I worked with women in my career, and some of them performed as well, and it worked more years than I did, and had their husbands take their retirement and have to continue some more just because they split up or whatever. I don't know the whole thing, but I worked with this lady and she was nice. And I bet that lady's pretty nice too, probably, with her comrades. I'm not saying she's a bad person or anything. It sounds like she's gets the job done, works with the kids in the public and that, and maybe a few of the others. But also, I want to know how come all this graffiti staying around at the underpass and stuff, and you guys ain't addressed that at all. I've seen it different places, and it's getting worse, and it's gonna get worse. And I also want some paperwork on that project going on downtown. Maps, everything. I want to see something about it, because I understand some of it. Maybe the public don't. I understand some of what's going on. And I hear you got some problems that you're finally starting to address the lagoons again, maybe. But you guys are building and you're gonna run out of space, or if you haven't already. And there's a lot of issues with that, even that I'd like to talk to a few people about and see if they don't agree. Because of things that I know in the past, and you guys have changed it. So doesn't make any sense to some of what's going on down there on the street at all. You got a light down there, cross arm light. There's only one sign on that sucker there, where the on Main Street at the Calvary Chapel. When you're over at Calvary Chapel, there's nothing on that. Luckily, some people let me cross there. You can't read it on the other side of the street. You can't go across to the other side, which you definitely can see. But that light ain't working going the other way.
Thanks, Don.
And
Okay. We're going to run down to conflict of interest declaration. Has any council member received information pertaining to or otherwise had any contact with any person regarding any items on the city council? Go ahead.
Rod Dudley regarding recognizing persons in the audience.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders,
ditto.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy.
I received an email from Rod Dudley concerning the recognizing person in the audience. I had a conversation with Jeannie Crane regarding number 5 item. I also spoke with ITD District 3 staff regarding number 5 yesterday.
Copy that. All right. Gonna run down to the consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that needs better clarification, maybe fixed, or have any other questions on that?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
don't know if we need to necessarily pull in full for this, but there's a small amendment needed through interlineation regarding the P and Z agenda on consent from December 26th, 2025, where in the public hearing and action, it states I2 heavy commercial, whereas our I2 zone is labeled as I2 heavy industrial. So just a brief correction on that one document.
All right, council. With that,
Mayor?
Councilman McCarthy?
I had a question. I know I sent an email to Paula and I just want to ask for a clarification since she isn't here. The treasurer's report, the ending is for this end of December. I just wanted to make sure, is this a quarterly report or when was the start date in October? Is that,
Ooh, that's a good question.
These come monthly.
is that monthly then? Okay, perfect. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Is Ms. Henninger here?
Speak into the microphone.
Can you hear if we're in the mic? Still nothing? We just had the guys here. Huh. Yes, Amber's here.
Can we pull that, please?
Please.
Sing a song and see if they could hear it.
That we could probably hear.
Fly me to the moon.
Test.
Okay. Thanks, Councilman Sanders.
Like number 7.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy?
sorry, I had one last. Chris, quick question for the, I'm just curious. Just status, where are we at with Keller's report for the declining balance, part 2 and that? I see that we're still kind of paying that out, so just curious if we've gotten that back yet.
Go ahead.
I have the final draft. I'm reviewing it. Once it's done, I will let the phone Keller come to it. I anticipate it will be the next meeting, but I'm just trying to make sure we review it guys done.
Perfect.
Good, easy.
With that, Councilman Harjo?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, saying item number 1 and pulling items 6 and 7.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna run down to, sorry, we're gonna run down to new business items removed. So, number 6, I'm gonna let, Councilman McCarthy run with that one. Councilman?
You.
Amber, you wanna come up?
Hi, Amber. Thanks so much for coming. I just wanted to ask a few questions is all. Been in that spot as someone who was on the DIFAC and my wife is also there. Thank you so much for applying for the position. I had just kind of some questions, if you wouldn't mind just answering kind of what your thoughts are on what you'd like to bring to the library board and how you see the future for the library board. And also kind of questions on how you feel about video recording for the board meeting so that all of the city can see and kind of understand for better transparency in that. So yeah, please, if you wouldn't mind.
That was kind of a lot. Can you?
Apologize. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself and qualifications and why you're interested in the library board, please?
I have been a member of the community for close to 30 years now. Wasn't born here, but was raised here and moved back home after I. I lived at that library growing up as a kid. Like I grew up on the street right behind it. I went to East Elementary. I went to all of the other schools. I was there. I lived there. So the library is near and dear to my heart. And I would like to see it's come so far and I want to keep seeing the good things of it. And I'd like to have a hand helping however that may be.
So much. Appreciate that. I guess my other question would be is how are your thoughts? Please don't feel inclined to answer, but what are your thoughts on video recording for meetings and that? So to kind of help with transparency and bringing to the public just to know what's going on with the library board.
I'm not opposed to it. I don't know if they're set up for that capability. So that would be an expense that would have to go into things, so.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you again so much for putting in.
Councilman Harjo,
Make a motion to approve to appoint Amber Henninger to the library board with a term that will expire in February 23rd.
Second.
there's motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders. Aye. Run down. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Run down to, oh wait, sorry, I got another one. Uh, Councilman Sanders, number 7.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Members of the council, I asked this to be pulled off the agenda. And this is, let me start by saying that the record of Mr. Berman Solo as a member of the URA is an example that all the other members should be aspiring to. His leadership has been evident in almost every phase and every office in that organization. He is the corporate knowledge many of the junior members should be learning from. And I think at this point, it's a bittersweet thing I bring up, that there's an opportunity here on one of the last available terms before this organization will sunset, to have a new person come in and begin getting the experience and the knowledge that would be necessary should a new URA be established going into the future. And I have real mixed emotions about this, but if I'm looking toward the long term, I would ask the council to consider whether or not a new person coming in to learn about the URA and its functions this might be the last opportunity to do that. So I just want to put that out for the council.
Councilman Harjo.
We make a motion to pass resolution 03-2026R approving reappointment of Alan Berman Solo to the Urban Renewal Agency.
Do I have a second? None. Motion dies. Alan has been, he has got the knowledge. He is steadfast in his work. He is truly a guy that has given blood, sweat, and tears to not only the urban renewal, but the city of Mountain Home. And I think there's 3 years left. And with the uncertainty at the State House, I know there's a big push to get rid of urban renewals at the State House. I would ask that he be able to remain for the last 3 years of this. 2029 is when it sunsets. Yeah. I think he was there in the inception, and then that knowledge. I would ask that the council approve Alan Berman Solo. My 2 cents, Councilman Harjo.
The Urban Renewal Agency has a multitude of projects scoped between now and the end of their sunset that is frankly going to take the legacy knowledge of not just Alan as the commissioner, but he's also acted as the treasurer and secretary of that body. He's been instrumental in the discussions regarding Marathon Cheese, the expansion there, the infrastructure needed for those projects coming forward. There are a great many reasons that we need that historical knowledge to keep someone of that nature on that commission.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workla.
Councilman Sanders, do you know of another person that's willing to fill the role or has an interest in the role?
I have not spoken with anyone about fulfilling that role because the will of the council had not been expressed. I would imagine, though, just speculate, of course, since we have folks who are very interested in sitting in these seats, either one of them would be a apt student coming into the URA if either were willing to take on the role.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy.
I know I had emailed and asked if Mr. Berman Solo could be here tonight to chat. I believe, at least I won't speak for the council, but my opinion is with these appointments that it would be nice to be able to discuss with potential appointees just before the council to ask these certain questions that are on their mind and the direction or what history knowledge such Mr. Berman Solo has or qualifications that I think that's proper. I don't believe that. I think that's the opportunity for the council is to have these questions that versus trying to discuss or anything, in between or behind doors, and that's not what we're here for. So I would like to have Mr. Berman Solo come and at least answer some questions, if that's possible.
Councilman Harjo.
We'll make a second motion that we table this until a point in which Commissioner Vernon Solo can come speak before the city council.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders?
and this may be taught either you or Paul, technical point. Mr. Berman Solo's current, appointment expired the first of the year, did it not?
No idea.
That's what's in your, memo or your resolution, in the resolution. But he's also allowed to keep that vacancy until a replacement is, nominated and qualified. So we're not going to lose any continuity, although his current term has expired. He's still serving us, correct? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Okay. Run down to action item number 2, deliberation decision on Planning and Zoning Commission recommendations of findings and facts for annexation with conditions. Council, what do you want to do?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
Regarding the action item number 2 on new business, there's some language from the planning and zoning finding of fact that I believe I should back up. There's language in the staff report that we should also reflect in the findings of fact from the council as we proceed forward on this topic, and it pertains to comments from our fire department. To read off of some of those points. Fire commented that the proposed subdivision for this parcel is just at the maximum of the 1.5 mile standard response area distance for serviceability. The following conditions are required to be met or agreed upon prior to the issuance of a building permit. Subsequent line says any issues will be required to be resolved prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy. So the points are the number of dwelling units exceeds 30 with only one access road. Therefore, all dwelling units shall be provided with a sprinkler system. Second point, fire hydrants shall be spaced as to not exceed more than 300 feet between hydrants. And third point, non-sprinklered buildings that require a building permit, no portion of the building shall extend beyond 100 property the structure is on. And this specifically applies to block 2, lots 2 through 8. If the building or structure is fully equipped with an approved automatic sprinkler system, the distance may be increased with the. And I think it's imperative for us to get that language into the council's finding of facts, so that sentiment carries forward from the staff report.
Councilwoman Workla?
So I have some concerns. So reading the same staff report, if you go to page 2 underneath sewer, it says Kurt Keller Associates review regarding the proposed development. This is in quotations from Keller. Similar to other recent developments, with the addition of this development, this will accelerate the need for wastewater treatment facility upgrades, such as winter storage, chlorine contact chamber improvements, and aeration. Completing the winter storage improvements will be needed to service the city's committed capacity. So where we stand currently with our wastewater concerns, and we're trying to, correct me if I'm wrong, fulfill, Chris, I'm gonna lean on you on this, fulfill how many who are already within our city limits waiting to build. But yet this is an annexation that's not within our city limits yet, right? And so to me, this potentially could be an added burden onto what Keller just stated there, right? So we need to take care of what's in our city limits first before we start bringing in annexation from the county. Where I'm going with that is if they would be open to either an annexation agreement where we can either stage or require a fee where the city can recover its cost. If an annexation agreement is on the table, then I would like to see if we can come with some specific terms and language with our engineer on that. So.
Okay. Councilman McCarthy?
Councilwoman Workla, would you, sorry, I'm trying to digest that also. The concern, and please correct me if I'm wrong, concern is our wastewater, of course, with the annexation. You're wanting to look into the annexation agreement? Sorry, just wanted clarification.
There.
Councilwoman Workla?
Well, there's an annexation, and then the next line is, I know we're not there yet, but it's to have the subdivision, right? The Aslan Ranch subdivision. So annex into the cities to subdivide upon it, right? So again, when you read the staff report on the annexation from Keller as our professional, stating that we need to make sure our wastewater treatment facility has its improvements that are needed. The question, bringing it, because we still need to take care of those for the, we have already approved within our city limits currently.
Councilman Harjo?
We've had similar discussions to these in the past regarding our existing capacity, and obviously like, these things will become a lot more clear when we have our declining balance tool in hand and completed. When we've had these previous discussions, both legal and public works, Keller have all given us the data that and the information about the land use practices of municipalities that essentially dictate that there are land use right, and that even per our own language, development agreements, that capacity is contingent on the availability. At this juncture, we have roughly how many EDUs, Chris?
1,500 approximately.
And Mayor, sorry.
Keep going. You're good.
Question for Brenda, in terms of number of doors in the development pipeline that still hold the entitlement status, do we have a ballpark figure? Sorry. From the mic.
Mayor, Council, thank you, Councilman Harjo. I'm sorry, I didn't bring that information with me, but I think there are approximately approved 1,500 permits that could be submitted for building permits.
Understood. And so that's, to clarify, that's 1,500 potential doors in entitlement that have not obtained building permit.
Council,
today.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Harjo, that is correct.
Understood. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Councilman Sanders?
I want to make sure I understand the parameters on what you just said. Curtis says we currently have about 1,400 EDUs available, correct? We have over 1,500 permits that could be built on, that have been told that if they choose to build, we would be able to supply that EDU. How does that process work? What is the guarantee when we talk 1,500?
There's no guarantee of water or sewer availability until the time of permit application. So we have the control at the permitting point to say yes or no.
And several of these currently are for projects that have multi-year build outs. Is that correct?
There's three that are big multi-year build outs that I'm aware of and a fourth coming.
So what I'm trying to clarify is that we don't foresee at this point a scenario where we have a developer come in that already has their subdivision approved, and instead of building out 10 units a year, wants to do 40. We wind up taking a big hit on our EDUs. Go ahead.
Again, that goes back to when we did the findings of fact. We have the control when they apply for their building permit to say yes or no on EDU availability.
Thank you.
I hope that's clear enough. And yeah,
I think some of those that we have approved have, didn't we, like some of them just fall through the wayside? Like I know where's the golf course one, right? So,
Yeah. So, Mr. Mayor, so with that one, that's the Golf View apartments.
yeah.
That one is a PUD and it still exists. But there are others that have gone through. That doesn't include the 1,500 that I spoke of earlier that have gone through for some preliminary approvals that have fallen off and just have not gone forward. And some of them will have to come back for reapplication of those subdivisions.
Go ahead.
Provide a little, since we have quite a bit of a new city council. The way I view this and the way the case law has come down on this, not very much in Idaho, but it was a recent federal case that came out not too long ago that provided guidance on this. I know, let's not make a federal case about this. But there's two examples that I kind of want to utilize. One is where you have property that's already located in the city. It's already zoned. They're not seeking a rezone. And then now you have a preliminary plat application that is consistent with the zone, consistent with the comp plan, consistent across the board. Unless you pass a moratorium declaring that there are no municipal services to provide, and then you cease all development, you are obliged to approve that application. You can't deny it because you don't, in fact, you still do have connections, as it were. And if we had no further connections, then you do have to do a moratorium because you got to figure out how to solve this problem. But you grant, I believe you process the application. The applicant would be entitled to due process. They're in the city and they're not asking really for anything. And so you are put in a little bit of a predicament. But what the solution was and what the case law suggested is just bear in mind that that does not create, somebody here used the word entitlement, and I disagree. That is not an entitlement. You have your preliminary plat, you have your application. That does not mean you get to have a sewer connection to a sewer connection that doesn't exist. You're not going to put the rest of the public health and safety in jeopardy to overburden the system, blah, blah, blah. But we do have to process your application, and there isn't a basis to deny it in my mind. It's a little different with an annexation, because an annexation, you're not obliged at all. They are asking for something. And so hence I tend to agree with suggestions of doing annexation agreements. Now that there's no double dipping, there's never any request that anyone would pay more than their proportionate share of their burden upon the system. However, sometimes, if we have X number of potential EDUs that are already in the city, i.e. our customers, before you take on an annex outside things, you might want to put something in place, such as in an annexation agreement that would be, what came up as an annexation fee, and it'd be in lieu of, an impact fee. But this is the burden, you have the engineer analyze, this is the burden that these additional units will place upon the system. This is what the cost per unit ought to be, and that's part of the annexation. And also you just plainly have in the annexation agreement, happy to annex you, welcome to the city. But bear in mind, same thing, the condition of approval. only so many spaces available. And at the time of building permit, you either are or are not eligible to based upon the use. So, but that's some of the legal behind it. If it's in city, I don't think there's much you could do about it. If it complies with everything. Okay, we'll grant the approval. We're not going to do a moratorium today, but bear in mind that, and mind you, this is something I realize that some of these things are real world issues for the city of Mountain Home. But if I put your planning hat on for a minute, you know, Chicago, New York, LA, all the big cities, they've got subdivisions that were approved back when subdivisions first became popular, which is after everybody comes home from World War II, and now everybody's having babies. And so now you need subdivisions and those kinds of things to put it. There are probably thousands of potential EDUs that were granted in, you know, Chicago in 1945 that obviously are never going to be fulfilled. So it's not that you have 1,500 for 1,400 spots. That's going to happen because the chances of them all putting in. But what you are faced with at some point is if you do, as you just said, if you have an influx and you have 40 coming here and 80 coming here, and you have this race to not the courthouse steps this time, race to the toilet. But at that point, you kind of have to, pun intended, meter out. You know, if you're coming for 40, we can only give you 20 because we have these other ones. You're not going to monopolize all of them in this subdivision. And then at that point, we really are in moratorium mode. The problem with a moratorium is it's 182 days. And then you can't keep putting a moratorium. And you tell me what engineer can solve a new sewer facility in 182 days, and I'll give that person a hug because it's not happening. So these are things we have to plan in advance. But when you're faced with an annexation type thing, that is another tool in the toolbox to say, we want you in our city. We understand the development will be wonderful, blah, blah, blah. However, we do need to come up with a computation. I can't do it. I could write the annexation agreement, but I have no idea what the number. But the number must be only the proportionate share of the burden that they'll have upon this system. So not unlike an impact fee, right? And maybe the number is exactly the same, but you're adding units that you didn't really anticipate because you have these other ones over here. And so you do need the help of an engineer to come up with a proportionate share analysis there. You know, you don't have to do any of that. You could just business as usual, kind of like what the mayor was alluding to, saying you're in too, you're in as well, and you have the same condition of approval that says you may come to the city hall and we don't have any left. Just be aware of that. And somebody at some point is going to scream, going, "Well, you approved our preliminary plat. We demand that." Well, good luck with that, because you know any judge in the world is going to be like, "Well, you can only flush so many toilets at once during Super Bowl Sunday," and that's that.
And then annexation is the only time we can ask for things. Once it's, you know, that's where Councilwoman Worklow was asking, you know.
Right.
I'm not trying to put word, but that's where that's our one shot at the apple or bite at the apple.
Yes,
So-
and so while this is the quote annexation part of this application, now's the time that you actually do ask those questions and say, okay, if he just said, we are completely out of all spots, we have no EDUs left at all. You know, and then at the annexation stage, we're like, okay, we'll be happy to approve you, but, and this happens too, by the way, we have no spots at all. If you will annex you into the system, but in that annexation agreement, you literally will build a sewer facility to accommodate it. I mean, that's not unlike what happened in Greenleaf a couple of years, well, about 10 years ago now. But they were like, and so they partnered with a developer, and that's kind of how that happened. So anyway, we're not there yet, but these are the kinds of things you think about. And I'm sure that, I mean, you guys know this too. So I'm sure you have plenty of comments on that too. So I'm not.
Would you like the developers to come up? Talk? Questions? Any asks for them? Any council? Councilman Harjo?
I do have one quick question for Paul. When you mentioned, when you referenced the fee in lieu of an impact,
Mhm.
we already collect the wastewater service availability fee.
Right.
And harkening back to what Mr. Schroeder informed us on roughly a year or so back, is that availability fee is the component of ours that does stand in place of, in lieu of, an impact fee. So is what you're referencing separate and distinct from?
It's separate. So, connection fees, all those things, that comes at a different stage. The annexation fee is supposed to be, I'm not going to use the word hearkening, by the way, but the annexation fee is supposed to be sort of in lieu of that impact fee for your percentage of that system. And the statute provides for it. It has an in lieu of right in the text. So,
Brenda, can I ask, how many building permits did we use for 2025?
Excuse me. Councilman McCarthy, I believe we used approximately 225 EDUs in last year, in fiscal year, or in the year of 2025.
And that was how many permits?
It's about 100.
And so the permits weren't 1-to-1 for unit, one permit per one unit?
Correct, they were not.
Okay.
There was some multifamily development within those permits.
So at 225 EDUs times the wastewater availability fee, correct? Which is 4,200. That means we almost collected $945,000 last year just for wastewater.
If that's what your calculator says, sir.
Sorry. 225 EDUs times 4,200. That's just wastewater.
That's
Almost $1 million just for wastewater.
That's correct.
And we're still sitting at 1,400 EDUs, roughly.
Correct.
So another 1,400 EDUs. We're talking, what, almost 6? 880,000 million dollars.
that's 1,400 additional, 1,400 total
Yes,
of 1,500 capacity.
right. But if we paid 1,400, came up, say tomorrow, we 1,400 all the way out, that would be $4,200 times the 1,400 EDUs, because they're all paying an EDU on the wastewater availability, correct?
Correct.
A lot of money.
Yes, sir, it is.
Councilwoman,
I'd like to make a motion to table new business number 2 to come up with the specific terms with our engineer on this annexation agreement.
motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Did motion and second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'm thinking about Councilman Harjo's observation, especially regarding the fire department's report. I'm also looking at water. And there's a mark in here from Keller and Associates that if Blue Yonder number 4 does not proceed with construction, they would want this subdivision to install a 16-inch line rather than the 12 that's currently planned. I'm thinking about the challenges with the fire. I'm wondering if a 16-inch main would not be the safer move regardless.
Okay. Councilman Harjo, you. Yeah.
Yes, regarding the motion, speaking with our engineers about the potential of what a fee structure would look like. The connotation of the motion goes much deeper than that, in the sense that in order to enact these, we pass the fee schedule by resolution. These are actions that take months of time. And it's not something that would be returned, say, by the next council meeting or even the one after that. So as a reminder to our council that it's not just as easy as that one conversation. There's a lot of technical up and process and procedure that we would have to follow in order to get to the point where we could enact that and then bring this one thing back if it's tabled for that one thing.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workla?
earlier I said either stage or require a fee. So it could also potentially be in stages without a fee. I want to have our experts give us options.
Go ahead.
Just really quick, there will be a task order that will have to be executed through Keller to make this happen. I just want to make sure that's on the table, that we'll take a task order.
Councilman McCarthy.
Task order for specifically on this development.
Well, no, because what I understand is that we're wanting to develop a fee for annexation. That will require a task order for Keller to be able to do the work. So make sure that's on the table.
Cost.
There. Paul, question, because I'm trying to see this on the flip side of this, where I understand the concern of wastewater and the infrastructure we have and what's been approved for projects right now. But by your counsel, it sounds, if I might summarize it very junior way, first come, first serve, essentially.
Yeah. It is.
How I'm understanding that is because if we somewhat put roadblocks and don't necessarily keep with the ideal of first come, first serve, we are essentially, give me some room on this. We are creating somewhat of a moratorium already on coming to building by saying we've already approved these projects. However, we're going to start slowing down other incoming projects, even though we have the capacity. Is that?
We cannot do that.
That's what I thought.
I guess, the term slowing down is a little too vague for me. So I deal with, legal mechanisms. And if, like I said before, if you meet all the, elements of all of the ordinances and you're not seeking a rezone or annexation or all the things that give flexibility back, to the city council. But there's no slowing down. They're either, it's like being a little bit pregnant. No, that doesn't, yeah. You either meet the ordinances or you don't. If you meet them, here's your approval, and then first come, first served. If you don't meet the ordinances or whatever, and I'm not saying you don't meet the ordinances, but you have to be annexed in, or you need a rezone, or you need a CUP or a PUD, whatever it is, you're seeking something beyond. Now you have, I wouldn't call it slowing down. We have to make sure that you're paying your proportionate share. And here's where you guys are going to want to be right at that table. Is when do you pay this, right? They don't want to have to pay it all up front. That is a huge outlay. But sometimes, depending on the size of the project that you're talking about, in order to, and yours is tiny, so we're not talking about you. But when you have, it's perfect. What I mean is, you know what I mean, like the really big ones. You're like, we're not going to take that on until you participate up front in building the infrastructure to be able to process these applications. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about. And that's the purpose behind whether we need the annexation agreement in this case, that's what you guys are talking about. But there's no slowing down, so to speak, but we can make let's find out from the engineers right now. Here's what the proportionate share is to be able to expand our system to accommodate new annexed properties. Because we know what You know, if everything in our town develops, we know what kind of that is. The engineers have that. Well, now we want to make our town bigger. And so, well, how much does that require an enlargement of the system and all that? What will that cost? And we determine that proportionate share analysis so that everybody's paying their fair share of this ever largening system. And engineers know how to do this. Especially municipal engineers, they know exactly how to do this proportionate share analysis. Then I oversee it and make sure it's done right. And so that we're not a test case or something in the courts. That's what I'm talking about. So it's not slowing down. It's more ensuring that before we start enlarging, our boundaries, well, that sewer facility is the one who's supposed to still process all this. Can it be done? That's why.
Councilman McCarthy?
Thank you for that explanation. Trying to is it, if we say no more annexation, but little growth is happening here in town, and we don't have this building out, this massive, we're not going to run out of the 1,400 EDUs tomorrow or in the next year. That's my curiosity, is that where does that legal come into of, yes, we might have these criteria for the annex agreement, but are we running into the danger of station agreement be, say, extra roadblock, I would say, to
A chilling effect.
thank you.
Yeah. So that's accurate. At the annexation, so you've heard me say this before, but at one end of the spectrum, it's the discretion of the city council. At one end of the spectrum, you have like a building permit. I've complied with all your ordinances. Please give me my building permit. Well, I don't know. I think I want it to be pink. No, you don't get to do that. Here's your building permit. It's a ministerial process. On the other end, all the way on the other end of the process, is an annexation. It's 100, even though this is a single application, annexation is 100% discretionary. It's legislative. You can either decide to expand your borders or not. There is no case, at least in Idaho, about a denied annexation being a basis for a claim. It just isn't, unless you did it for an illegitimate purpose because you're too tall, too short, black, white, purple, whatever. So long as you're not doing it for a protected class or some absurd thing like that. But if it's just like, no, we don't have the services, or we don't have this, or we don't feel like it because it's Tuesday, all of them are valid. So you have unbridled discretion at the annexation stage. You have none of it for the building permit stage. You understand? And then you got preliminary plats, and then above that is CUPs, and above that is PUDs. Above that are variances. Above that are rezones, and then you finally get to annexations. And that level of discretion is like a sliding scale going up in the amount of discretion you have or don't. And so, is it a chilling effect? Those are my words that I helped for you. I suppose it is, if you're going to start turning down annexations on the basis of services. However, that is the time when you would do it. Discretion at that time. Now, I think a blanket denial for all annexations sends a very poor message to the community and your development community and how you want businesses to come in, all these kinds of things. So a prudent city council and prudent department heads, including the engineer, are planning for this, and they're making sure that there is that capacity. And one of the little tools in that toolbox are the annexation agreements, to which.
So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman,
hopefully it'll be a quick question.
I'm not paid by the word, by the way.
Dang it. Paul, if we weren't looking at an annexation here, this applicant were already within city boundaries. All the normal rules and processes for impact fees and all would apply.
They would.
So are we getting a chicken egg effect here? Could we not just annex first and then make a ruling on the application for the division?
What do you mean division?
Well, right now the discussion's been, do we need an annexation agreement to cover things that we don't impact? Correct. But if that application was for something already within the city limits, those processes are already in effect.
With the exception that you're enlarging your boundaries. And
Right.
so now again, you're super huge. It's a small enough quote burden on the system that it really doesn't move it this much. But let's say this was a very, very large annexation. Your impact fee might not be accurate to accommodate that kind of growth and an enlargement of your system. And so one of the things you can do with the annexation agreement is you relook at, okay, what's our proportionate share at this point? Honestly, in this scenario, it's going to be the same number as the impact fee. It's gonna, I mean, it will. I can't imagine the needle's going to move all that much with this one, but at least for edification purposes, this is the kind of thing that I want you guys to look at especially in the annexation, because here's where you have discretion and power. If you annex it and then say, we want you to do X, Y, and Z, now it is literally just following the boxes down the list in your ordinances. And whatever the number is what it is. And now you have, let's say you were 500, 1,000 more EDUs coming into the city. Now that 1,500 that's issued outstanding, now it's 2,500. And it's like, oh crap, we're going to have a race to City Hall to fulfill it. And unless you have an annexation agreement saying thou shalt pay this amount of money at this date with each phase to pay for the enlargement of the system, then you can't come into our city. If you don't agree to that, then you're going to bury the rest of us. And so therefore you may not come in versus, yep, we're happy to we'll pay this amount on this date, this amount on this date with phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And then that capital is right there available. It's not, and it bypasses the impact fee process. And then that money is going to be painstakingly accurate because it's analyzed on this application. Clear as mud.
Hey, Chris, really quick, what's your turnaround? What do you think, Keller?
For a task order?
Yeah.
Minimum 30 days at minimum. Most likely it's going to be up to 6.
You guys want to be heard on this?
Got to make sure that they're willing to actually take it.
Right.
Because we actually have to engage them, present it to them. They will do their analysis.
Mayor, they would like to maybe comment on it.
You want to come up? Come on up, guys. Sorry.
I might need some clarity on exactly which site we're discussing here, just because it's item 2, 3, 4 in this annexation. I'm Jaden Schneider. I'm the applicant. I'm a civil engineer. This is Gary Aslan. He's the owner, developer, namesake of the project. Happy to discuss anything there. I think Gary, I'm trying to walk through it as much as you guys are trying to walk through it here. I think we're open to some give and take if there is some on the annexation portion itself. Kind of as Paul mentioned himself, it's not a very large project. So if there is a proportional share, it might be nominal in comparison to the overall. So yes, if there's specific questions or you'd like to hear anything specific from me, I can try to answer it, or Gary can try to answer maybe a little bit more on, would you give $100 more per acre in order to make this work, or 1,000? If there's something like that, I think that Gary might be one to ask on that. But yeah, happy to answer any questions or talk through any of our thoughts as well as we go through it.
Council, you got anything for two gentlemen?
I'm going to try this, Mr. Mayor. Last question I thought was a simple one. We spent that aside.
I have an addendum.
Thanks for playing. My concern with that whole area, and y'all are right in a place where I would say between a rock and a hard space, but you're on the edge of developing in that part of the world. And I think the concerns issued by fire and the caution noted in the staff reports about water and access give me additional concern. So off the top of your head, what would you feel the impact on y'all would be to change from a 12 to a 16-inch water line to that area?
If I understand the Keller Associates letter correctly, I believe that Keller is installing a 16-inch water main. And maybe I'm wrong on that. Are they installing a 12-inch in?
Keller, it's.
Or sorry, Keller. Blue Yonder.
Hey, Keller doesn't do any-
Blue Yonder is installing a 16-inch water main, and the condition that Keller, correctly this time, Keller said was that if Blue Yonder does not do that, hence that they're already ahead of us in the pecking order or already moving forward, the burden would fall to us in order to install that 16-inch main. So I feel like it's less of upsizing the main from a 12 to a 16. If we get approved, it would be more of a safety or a fallback. If Blue Yonder didn't do it, we would then be the development that would be required to do it. So I think that answers your question, but I may be wrong. I'm happy to try it again if that helps.
Go ahead.
To piggyback on what Jaden said here. So the 12-inch line is a line that runs down through this development. The 16-inch line, he is accurate. They would be responsible if Blue Yonder did not move forward with Blue Yonder 4.
So in the timing of that, I don't know for sure how we're going to know if Blue Yonder 4 is going to go before you guys are ready to lay a main line.
Councilman, that'd be one of your requests is saying, hey, if Blue Yonder does go, we're putting that into the annexation agreement that you'd have to put the 16-inch line in. That'd be part of that ask, I guess.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo?
that expressly articulated in the findings of fact.
And then, as our counselor said, that the fees would probably not be very much in for our 4,200, and their cost share would be over and above that 42 would be pretty nominal. Small development.
Trying to be nice.
Yeah, it's okay.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo?
yes, I mean, in all senses, 44 developed parcels, and this is a relative subdivision in development. You know, as we progress through this and the declining balance discussion with Keller will illustrate better for us is that the 1,400 approximate EDUs that we have right now gets us to the 80% capacity point. There is considerable buffer beyond that through all manners of state statute and engineering standard and so on, a design factor of additional 20% capacity that is reserved for things of nature out of our control. We get another snowpocalypse and we need, capacity at wastewater storage and those kind of things. So the 1,400 EDU is a hard wall. Make no mistake about it. However, that is also not accurate to the true capacity. We do have a motion on the floor. We'd like to proceed with that. However, I would like to see this council move through the elements of the particulars of what we would like out of an annexation agreement. Before we just process to deny this or table based on something that is going to take months and months of work, and putting some undue stress of the system on such a small development.
Councilman McCarthy?
I say I'm a little bit cautious about another task order. I know we pay a lot of professional fees, seeing them in the bills. So I think I would have to kind of agree that curious what we would like to see in an annexation agreement, just to kind of understand. I'm cautious to go for another task order, so.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workla.
right, this is my conversation with the attorney today. Because I firmly believe land use rights is absolute, right? I do believe that. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, Paul, I'm gonna come out and be in the room tonight because
It's not the words you said.
because I also have a responsibility to make sure that the city of Mountain Home is being taken care of through their infrastructure. And it's actually our fault, not yours. It's my fault. We have not been able to pinpoint down where we're going with our wastewater infrastructure, right? And that's where I think we're frustrated. We put so much money out for a Lagoon Cell 10 study, right? And then, oh wait, no, let's maybe put out $48,000 for a study wastewater treatment plant. We still haven't, as a city, decided which way are we going depending on our growth, right? And so that's where I feel like it's my responsibility to ask those questions and just see like, okay, I don't want to say no. Absolutely. I don't want to say no to this, but project and everyone's looking at me like, what is your problem? Project. But I feel like if we set this expectation, then the next annexation, and it'll add up. And we live in a desert and we have wastewater infrastructure issues. And I just need to see with the professionals, Keller, what our options are. And I know the task order thing bothers you too. I see from all views. But again, if I just said, hey, let's just figure out hopefully we have enough EDUs in our wastewater. I mean, our lagoon is shut down to the septic professionals right now, right? I mean, we constantly are coming up with issues. So this was Jenny meeting in the middle with this. And I'm leaving it open. I'm not the professional to say tonight, this is what I see out of it. Keller's the professional to give me the options to say what I want to see out of it. So that's where I stand.
Mr. Mayor, I'll just add that most of the speech I was giving there was because our last 2 or maybe even 3 city councils, they were freaked about capacity. That was one of the resounding things that we talked about. Dating the hell is about 8 years ago, we started freaking about how much capacity we might have. And each city council since then has. So, but Decker is 100% correct that if they're annexed in, they'll have to follow all the same ordinances that everybody else does. And it's good enough for everybody else, and with 44, it's not a drop in the, forget it, bad pun. But that's correct. It's not going to move the needle all that much. And so with this one, maybe you don't want to do that. But I'm just from what prior city councils, when the mayor comes forward and says, by the way, we're completely out. And it's like, we could have told us that. Prior city council have been freaked about that for quite a while.
So there's, in Councilwoman Worklow, correct me if I'm wrong. So there's a motion and a second to table this, correct? If memory serves me correct.
That is correct.
Just table. Okay.
That's where we're at.
So
right now.
there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mayor.
What? Wait, hang on. I got council. Do you want to say something?
Well, there's a motion and table, but it's for task order and there's a divide in the task order. So we as staff need.
Okay. So Councilman McCarthy?
Sorry, Mayor, that was my question for clarification. Councilwoman Workla, can you state your motion again, just for record purpose, please?
Sure, and if I need to fine tune it, I'd be happy to. All right, so it's to make a motion to table new business number 2 to come up with specific terms with our engineer.
Okay. Councilman Harjo?
Brief last point. 44 developed units equates to 3.14% of the available 1,400 if we're going to round that off to a whole number. It is quite literally a drop in the bucket. I think we as a city and a council can accomplish multiple things in parallel. And the need is not linear, and especially as applied to the we can accomplish both the goals of getting a better understanding of the city engineer while proceeding with annexation and subsequent land use steps in the city.
Okay. And Tiff, was that the clarification you were needing? Or do you need a little bit more on the task order or like the direction?
Again, like Chris said, Mayor, task order will come back for approval.
Okay.
We'll ask Keller what they want to do, and you guys will.
Get a quote and all that good stuff. Okay. So there's been a motion and a second. I'm going to call for the question unless there's no other discussion. Go ahead, sir.
Can I jump in?
You bet.
If there is a question to Keller and there is a question about a task order going there, maybe it's not legally, we can't do it this way. Is there something that the council would say, hey, we would like to move forward with a fee of X dollars and we would feel comfortable with this? Maybe two birds, one stone. Instead of going to Keller and saying, hey, we want to do a task order, we have to pay Keller, it's going to take months to do it. Is there a number or is there a percentage or something that the city can say to say, hey, would the developer be agreeable to this in this situation? I'm not trying to pull a quick one on Keller or like jump the line or anything, but it did seem like there was potentially a question, do we want to go back to Keller? And honestly, from the developer side, do we want to extend this further? Which, yes, if it's a denial or extension, we'd love to extend it and continue on with that. But if that's an opportunity, is there something that council would say, we had an idea that it was a percentage of what the total impact fees are. In addition, we 5% additional impact fee or something like that. Not saying that Gary would jump at it and say, yes, I want to agree to it, but just if it works for council and it works legally and it works for everybody else, is that something available? And I'm not stuck to it. If it's like, no, that's a terrible idea. Sure.
No, we've had other council say, hey, $5,000 or $20 million, you know. So council, that's Councilman McCarthy.
This last one. Chris, we already talked about Keller. Sounds like we're coming back with the declining balance on that very soon. Is there next meeting, you think?
I can't promise you that, but I can try.
So may I ask?
Because I don't know their schedule. I don't know.
Councilwoman Workala, would you be opening to amending your motion to have Keller, a discussion with Keller and coming back and figuring out what our wastewater and that, such as a workshop in that, so that we don't create another task order specifically?
Mayor,
Councilwoman.
could that be just maybe as expensive or more expensive if Keller came? And yeah, so I don't know if it's.
Timeline though, sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman McCarthy.
Timeline though, it might be expedited and we would actually be getting answers to the task orders that we've already been paying for, such as the declining balance, the wastewater treatment plant task order. I mean, all those things. To me, it seems more I don't want to say streamline, a better process to close out those task orders than start another one and we could be pushing out, say, this project another 6 months or anything when personal, lost the needle necessarily. So just curious if you're opening to amending your motion.
I'm always open to amending my motion after discussion. So there's the request to wait till they come and speak with us with the declining balance tool. What's your exact?
Mayor, Councilman McCarthy.
The motion is to table this annexation. My ask would be can we bring Keller to close out these task orders such as get better understanding of what direction we're going versus adding another task order and paying Keller more. Well, I understand there's a cost for Keller coming here, but I would imagine that Keller coming here to present those task orders that have already been authorized or approved by the previous council, somewhat in the same of that cost of what's been approved versus let's start another task order and we're paying Keller more fees and now we're pushing out more timelines. And I mean, if we're going to possibly table this development here, are we going to start tabling more developments, kind of as Paul was saying in that? So I guess my ask is this, are you opening to amending the motion to bring Keller to close out and get final answers on these task orders that we pre-approved?
Fair.
Councilwoman Workla.
And still keep my motion so they feel comfortable leaving the room tonight with knowing that we are open to having agreement. Because I don't want them to walk away like, wait a minute, don't forget about us, right? So
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'm going to try to make this my last comment on this issue. The question is without a doubt a worthy question about annexation and any associated fees. It is a strategic question, but with 44 units in this development, we're doing strategic planning around the tactical issue. We find the question worthy, and we know it's going to take experts to give us the information we need to make a reasoned decision rather than coming up with just a number which might later be claimed to be arbitrary or capricious. I would hope that we would go ahead with a straight annexation and have a workshop or a staff presentation, and we build a annexation agreement that answers the questions we're debating now.
There. Go ahead, Tiff.
I believe Councilwoman Workla is in the right direction of having Keller help us draft annexation agreements specific to water and wastewater EDUs, because we know that we have industry that are looking at us plus residential, and we need help paying for them. So as much as we don't want to pay them do it, I think it is worthwhile to figure out what that price would cost us so we could either budget it or know.
So with that, then I have a motion and a second to table this until after the Keller's information, which could take a while, or what's your time frame, council? Table, Councilman McCarthy?
Can you please clarify when you said the information for Keller, is that the new task order or existing ones that we currently have that are coming back?
No, the new one, because these guys probably want to know if they could start work or not. So, council, go ahead.
I would like to clarify, my statement has nothing to do with their
okay,
project.
I'll say it again.
Yeah.
You need that information for anything down the road. You needed it 6 months ago, realistically, a year and a half.
Point of order.
Councilman Sanders.
The amendment to the motion proposes an action taken by the council for a direction that's not part of the agenda. The item before the council is the annexation. The debate about what level and what kind of agreements go along with it, and then authorizing action to engage the engineer to produce the report, to me is a separate action item.
That's correct.
Correct, yeah.
But
So it's the
the
deliberate.
only thing that's on the table right here is, are we tabling it to next month to either here, bring them forward, and tell us where we're at with the already issued task orders? Or are we simply asking them to say, prepare for us a task order to say how much it's gonna be? And then that action item will be what we'd be doing next time to say, okay, well, do it or not do it. So, I mean, I know you guys are having fun going back and forth about amending it and all that, but really all you're saying is, are you approving it tonight? Or are you tabling it tonight?
Yep.
And then as far as the tabling it, either the next month or, if we had to push it out further, but that, you're right, but trust, I knew what was going on and we're not issuing task orders right now, because you're right, that's not on the agenda.
Right. So, okay, you proving it? It sounds like there's a motion, a second to table it. My only question was for how long. So with that, I'm going to call for the question. Councilman Harjo?
Nay.
Councilman McCarthy,
Aye.
Councilman Sanders,
Nay.
Councilwoman Workla,
Aye.
and the mayor votes nay.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Make a motion to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendations and findings of facts with annexation or for annexation with the conditions as stated earlier regarding inclusion of the language regarding fire.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders,
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy,
Come back to me.
okay, Councilwoman Workla,
Nay.
Councilman Harjo,
Aye.
Aye.
Gonna run down to action item number 3, deliberation decision on planning and zoning commission recommendation of finance Aslan Ranch subdivision with conditions. Council,
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders,
move we approve the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendations and finding of facts for preliminary plan Aslan Ranch subdivision with conditions.
Second.
it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
If
not-
I may interject, technically, it's totally fine. Everybody would figure it out in the wash, but all the fire comments, all the conditions of approval technically belong on this one. Not the annexation one, but we'd get there anyway, but
All right, motion is seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Workla,
Nay.
Councilman Harjo,
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy,
Again, on this,
you're good.
reason I will vote on this is because, again, for the stipulations we've talked about with capacity and that. So for me, I will vote aye on this.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
All right, run down to item number 4, action item deliberation decision on planning and zoning's commission recommendation of findings of facts for annexation and
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Recommendations and findings of fact for
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders,
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy,
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla,
Stand by. The whole project, right? Okay, let's clarify that. Woo! This is for the 272 acres, right? Okay. Ooh, okay. You guys don't want to talk about that? Okay, all right.
Mayor, point of order.
hang on one. Okay, go ahead, Councilman, once she's, go ahead.
If I didn't do my homework,
Due to the progression of this, may we ask the question again for discussion?
Absolutely. So the motion is seconded. There's been votes. Any further discussion?
yes.
Councilwoman Workla.
Okay, Brenda or Chris, can one of you guys just clarify for our few people in the audience what this one's for?
Thank you, Councilwoman Workla, Mr. Mayor and council and citizens. So this application is for annexation of city-owned just but abut the airport. There's 200 it is in the county, and we would like to bring those parcels into the city, so is under control of this council.
And that's just for, that could be like 5-10 years down the road, whatever. It's just so the city owns it, has control over what's being placed there since it's in close proximity to the runway, the airport, right? Okay.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Good.
So that is correct. There is no plans at this time for development. We're just bringing it in under city control.
I think you should do an annexation agreement with yourselves.
Stop it.
So, Councilman McCarthy?
Thank you, Councilwoman Workla, for putting a pause a little bit as we run down this. It says the parcel has legal access to that. I guess I'm trying to pull up a map to see where is that access.
The access would, Mr. Mayor. So I believe the access is coming off of bypass road. There is a, what I'm gonna call it, path at this moment. It's hard to see on any of the Google images, but that is from bypass road.
Councilman?
And is that a deeded access or is that ag access or what?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Councilman, I don't have that, that deed with me to tell you one way or the other.
Just curious on that access. And then because it talks about the city owns the rail line that runs through these parcels and several other easement access that runs along the rail line from Haskett Street to Airbase Road. I'm just kind of curious what specific access and easements we're discussing and if they're just, deeded or if they're an agreement or however all that works. So, because I believe the parcel is still zoned ag, correct?
In the county, yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, motion seconded. Aye. Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Aye. Councilman Harjo?
Then I vote aye.
Okay, so everyone voted? I want to make sure I got everyone's vote. Okay, all right, sorry about that. Let's go down to number 5, workshop discussion. One is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to bring this back to council. Paul, you'll have to forgive me. I didn't have a chance to chat with you. Our last special city council meeting that we had. I'm curious if kind of discussion was a little bit cut a little quickly.
Okay.
But here nor there. So the reason that I asked for this to come back had still quite a few questions in that. So I don't know if Robert's rules plays into it when a council member asks for the question vote and if there needs to be an actual vote on the question being called to end debate.
Okay. That was not where I thought we were going.
Sorry.
Okay, so you're asking a specific Robert's Rules question, the process for calling a question,
Correct.
i.e. if one council member wishes to continue the debate, that the call for the question could be denied. Is that the question?
No, the question would be, Mayor. So
Go ahead, you're good.
the question is, and this is just a side note, but the question is, when it comes to Robert's Rules of Order, if a council member calls for the question, it is my understanding reading that a vote needs to happen by the governing body to bring question forward to end debate.
Correct. So if, one, make sure we know Robert's Rules of Order is like a comprehensive plan, right? It's not a law, it's a guide. And so, it's just for your guidance. It is not something that I demand this. And so it's just a suggestion on how to do it. So it isn't hard and fast a rule. That being said, sometimes when people say I call for the question, it's rudely meant to say everybody shut up, and I've seen that done in like with the mayoral debates in New York and stuff. So it is inappropriately utilized at times. Technically, a call for the question is actually seeking the rest of that body to say, yeah, we've kind of talked about this enough. So let's say one council member, and we know it's Scott, keeps wanting to talk about it on and on and on. And then you say, I call for the question. And then all 3 of you say aye. And then you say, no, I want to talk another 20 minutes about it, kind of thing. Technically, the call for the question requires a vote on the call for the question. And then if it's like, yeah, we beat this dead horse, I want to have an answer, let's vote. That's the call for the question.
Thank you for the clarification. Again, it wasn't meant to make that as a point. I just wanted clarification on it since I hadn't gotten to chat with you before. But the reason why I've asked this to bring this back is I still have quite a few questions on this project. And
so it wasn't Scott, it was you. Okay, I got it.
Chris, thank you so much for getting those documents to me. I think it's great tracking the in-kind work. I know I will have more questions on that. I know I took a look at it and right now it looks by today, we're at 360 labor hours between 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 city employees. I see that we're tracking on the cost for equipment operating and then supplies and that, which I'm sure there'll be questions down, but I just want to say thank you for getting that going. Because I still have concerns with the project and the in-kind work. Again, this was prior to my time. I understand that this was approved and pushed forward, but I don't feel that it's necessarily something that I can just necessarily check off the box and we're okay and we're moving forward and no questions asked. So, you know, it was stated here. Oh, Guho, if they had done the in-kind work, project in year 96, the question I always had was when it came to the bidding process on this, that's for Guho. If it was contracted out, such as, you know, your Torty Concrete, all these things, would have been cheaper and we might be actually getting closer to what it's going to cost us, the city. Sorry, not just looking at you, Chris, but this is a general question I have. During our special city council meeting, it was stated that, you know, this in-kind work, it's not going to affect projects. It's going to be cheaper than what Guho projected with their $522,000 in-kind work. But again, it's to me of how do we know that this is actually. Sorry, Chris asked this question. We don't really have a definitive idea of how many man hours, labor hours, project cost or anything over the, is it 6 months from January to July based off of that schedule of work in between, right?
We have what was given to us by Goo.
The cost estimate.
Yeah, the cost estimates.
522. Sorry, Mayor.
You're good. You're good.
Yep.
The 522 number.
There,
Councilman.
and that's, but if Guho did that, correct, at their rate.
At their, when the,
Go ahead. You're good. He's asking.
that is correct. When Guho did the original estimates before we projected city doing any of the work, we were in kind work, if you will. That was what they were estimating the bids to come in at.
For them to pay, sorry.
You're good.
For them to pay, for them to have a subcontractor come in and it was gonna be 520.
That was in multiple areas. Surfacing, gravel, yes. Items.
So again, it comes to me, the tracking the in-kind I think is great. And Chris, I was gonna follow up with you on a question on where we were getting standard we were using pieces of equipment. But thank you. Again, why I bring this back is having these questions and then having concerns in the public. Mayor, thank you. I know you had sent out about trying to send out about the farmer's market. It sounds like there is a meeting with the farmer's market tomorrow to kind of go over final plans. So it sounds like it was still in the works necessarily, correct? It wasn't definitive.
Go ahead.
I've been in communication with the farmers market since this project was a napkin drawing. Started with Brenda Franks. Potentially relocate the market at that point. There's been several dialogues. Now at this time there's construction fence and it's a real deal, right? So we do meet tomorrow to discuss where their vendor booths will be.
So again, I think for, at least I'll speak for me, is just understanding where we at. Are we following with the timelines? Schedule. I don't want to see this project necessarily go off the radar, especially with so much public interest. Hear anything for a month or two, and then we find out, oh, something came up and now we're pushing out the project, or now. As I stated in my conflict of interest, I spoke with Idaho Transportation Department. And so it sounds like there was a meeting today, I believe, or yesterday.
I think.
So it sounds as we're starting to check off boxes, but again, I feel that let's keep the eye on this project to really truly see. Something, I'll speak for myself, coming on to city council is somewhat inheriting, and I don't want to just sounds great, and then we get to July and it's, oh, well, now we're 2 months out, and also we're
Copy that. Go ahead, Tiff.
I don't want to be the glasses half full person, but it's a very big project and we are pushing for the first part of July and we as staff are pushing as hard as we can. We are also dealing with third-party contractors. So it could be, as all construction projects go, longer than expected.
All right, let's run down to the ordinance. Ordinance 1814, amending city code B, subsection 1B, subsection 1, subsection E, sidewalk curbs, gutter, and gutters, 8-4-5, excavation fee, and 8-4-6, bonding fees.
You win.
Who else? Councilman Harjo.
I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule and read this.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo. Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Tiff, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 1814, an ordinance of the city of Mountain Home, Idaho, amending section 8-1B1, Article B, Chapter 1, Title 8 by removing the permit fee of $20 and adding a fee that will be set by resolution of the City Council, amending Section 8-4-5, Chapter 4, Titled 8 by removing the excavation fee of $50 and adding the fee to be set by resolution of the City Council, amending Section 8, Chapter 4, Title 8, removing the bond fee of $1,000 and adding the bond fee to be set by resolution of the City Council and providing an effective date.
Council, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Sanders.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla. Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
All right, run down to final comments.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
2 quick ones. One, thank you for sending out the message on the passing of Mayor McNeil.
Welcome.
And I also, I could probably go on, but I'd probably lose my composure a bit because those that knew him, I rarely found anyone who thought anything but the highest of Joe. So he is missed. On a different note, I don't want the notion of an annex agreement to get lost in the shuffle over the next couple of months. I think it's a foundational document that will help us not only when we go out to do economic development, because again, people who want to come into the city want to know and understand what the ground rules are to the best of their ability coming in so we can be competitive in these markets. So whether that's a workshop, whether that's something we ask the staff to prepare, I don't want to see this go to bed and get overlooked.
Councilman
you.
Sanders, I guarantee you it'll come, but we're gonna jump on it tomorrow and then we'll send out updated information. Yeah. We'll ask for the task order. We'll still ask for the quote, so it has to go back to you guys anyways. But I think Tiffany was right and Jenny, or sorry, Councilwoman Work was right. We did need that. So that will not be lost. All I have is congratulations to Jeff Paradis and Patty Farrell in Randy Valley. Jeff was awarded the Man of the Year for the Chamber of Commerce. Patty Farrell was awarded the Woman of the Year for the Chamber of Commerce, and Randy Valley was a Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Chamber of Banquet 81st installation banquet. And I know everybody that had a hand in that, put that on. You guys did a great job. The flow was great. It was fun. It was a good time. So thank you. Thanks all that had a hand in that. So, Councilwoman Workla?
So next city council meeting, is there going to be a joint meeting with P&Z/Impact Fee Committee? Council? Is
No.
that what was discussed yesterday at that? I just want clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if I recall, that joint meeting will be on the 20th.
Oh, 24th of February. Was there a time that they put to it?
Yes, Councilwoman Workla, 4 o'clock would begin that public hearing.
What week is that? I can't be there at 4. Can we please make it where I can be in attendance? I'm still working.
That time was picked by legal, specifically Jeff Schroeder.
You can ask.
I don't know why we.
But I'm putting that out there. So.
Yeah.
I'll ask.
He just we found out yesterday afternoon. So.
Okay.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
Another thing conceptualized at one point was having, at least on the post-election cycle, doing boot camp, like workshops, specifically about what the land use implications are, how to interpret comp plan, some of the knowledge out of the Givens Pursley handbook and that kind of thing. If we could maybe look at an off time to cover those things as well, would benefit us, perhaps even at the encompassing, and if we have to maybe even give homework out of that for studying. I think we've got a lot to uptake.
I think, Councilman Harjo, I think Jeff said he couldn't make this meeting, so he wanted to do it the first meeting in February.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
on that.
Great news. Thank you.
Right, Tiff? Was it the first one?
Jeff had it was in February. I know that much. I don't know if this is the first one. Gave us a whole dialogue of the boot camps he was
All the other
everybody
cities.
else through the state. So I do know it's coming and it will probably be anticipated.
I'm not a cat herder, so whatever. Anything else, guys? All right. Meeting adjourned. Okay, the 7th of February.